All right, I'm recording. Let me just walk right up to you. Hold on. Okay, what's the cat's name, first of all?
This is Kitty.
Kitty! Hi, Kitty.
She's 2 years old.
She's very pretty. She's a pretty kitty. What's your name?
Ethan.
Ethan, hi. Where are you from originally?
I was born in Missouri.
Missouri. You're a long way from home.
Yeah, I've lived a lot of places.
Is this by choice, or how did this come about? And how long have you been in this spot?
Yeah, I consider myself to be a nomad. I've been spending a lot of time here this winter, but that's probably about to end. How long have I been in this spot? It's been intermittent, I would say, because sometimes they do have a business in the storefront behind me, and when they have a business here, I don't usually stay here. I've been sleeping here off and on since probably 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't been like continuous. It's been here and there, and then the most significant amount of time I spent was here this winter, because there was no real reason to move anywhere. It was a good spot to be, all things considered. And so this is where I've been.
Do you consider yourself homeless?
No, I think that term is not a useful way to talk about people who sleep outside, or people who have brain damage, or people who have drug addiction. I think it's important to speak precisely if you can, and speak in terms of either the problem or in terms of the solution. And homelessness is neither one of those things. That term doesn't really suit either one of those. I have some ideas about alternatives, but it's all very theoretical, because you never really know what the public is going to decide to go with. Public opinion.
Are you living this way by choice? Or
Oh yeah.
You are?
Yeah, I like living nomadically and remaining mobile, and making an effort to be a sort of a minimalist.
This is not that minimal.
Well, it depends on what you're comparing it to.
Well,
Who
yeah.
You're comparing it to. I think you'll find that I have less stuff than pretty much anybody, including people who live in very, very poor places. And as far as the volume of stuff, the quality of stuff may be higher.
But if you wanted to, how old are you?
I'm 34.
I was going to say right around that. Did you go to college?
Yeah.
Where?
I went to Spartanburg Methodist College, and then I transferred to Clemson University. And it was all right.
Did you graduate?
No.
What did you study?
I studied business management.
Interesting.
I realized shortly after transferring to Clemson University that YouTube was taking off, and it was very possible from there to learn anything online from anywhere. And it really didn't make a lot of sense to invest in tuition anymore, or take out student loans or anything like that. At that point, basically as soon as YouTube started scaling in a serious way, academia became pretty obsolete, in my opinion.
And did you work for a while?
Yeah, I did some jobs. I was a tree care professional for a while. I was climbing trees, pruning and moving trees.
In South Carolina?
Yeah, in South Carolina. And I also worked at a restaurant for a year, and I worked at a nightclub for about a year. And after working at the nightclub, my personal life and my professional life, they were fully integrated. There was no compartmentalization anymore, and I learned how to be friendly and do business at the same time without needing a business license or employment, employees even. Once you have those kind of skills, it's just working is an option.
And weren't you freezing your ass off all winter?
No, I've had, I think this winter was the 10th winter I've spent outside in Manhattan, sleeping outside. I'm very experienced, and my body is conditioned for it. My mind is conditioned for it. The only thing that gave me trouble this winter were the police, because they were trying to tell me that it was too dangerous for me to sleep outside, but they don't know what they're talking about. They've never slept outside in the cold like this. And, fundamentally, they're just motivated by protocols. Protocols are motivated by reducing the city's legal liability. It's not about caring about me. It's just like, it's either liability or it's about like just misplaced emotions, especially fear. People are afraid. They imagine themselves doing what I do, which makes them feel afraid. Understandably so, because they don't have the experience. But I do have the experience, so I'm not afraid, and their fear then becomes a problem for me, and I have to try to manage their fear for them so that they don't weaponize it against me. And that can be tricky. That for me was the hard part this winter.
Not the weather, not the snow.
Weather. No, the weather was easy. The weather was fun. I enjoy developing my ability to adapt to any weather patterns and climates. New York offers, plenty of heat in the summer and plenty of cold in the winter, and a lot of diverse culture. It's a good place to basically accumulate as much life experience as quickly as possible. And that's part of the reason why I like being here. I like being immersed in what's happening in the public spaces.
How do people up here treat you?
Mostly pretty well, but very few people understand what's happening in the privacy of my own mind, I guess. Not that I expect them to, but I feel very misunderstood a lot of the time because I'm grouped together with all of the other people that they've ever interacted with who sleep on the sidewalk or outside, and that has its drawbacks, but in some ways I can make them into advantages.
How?
Well, I can play on people's assumptions, and I can use those things to my advantage.
So a lot of people on the streets are mentally ill or chemically addicted.
Yeah, most of them.
And you're not either.
No.
This is really by choice. You remind me of my nephew who's 35 who graduated from Boulder, and he does have an apartment. He still lives in Boulder, but a lot of his friends just cut the cord all the way around.
Yeah.
They live in a camper, or they just, I get it.
Real estate is not a good investment. You might as well live on wheels. And I've taken it to the extreme. I don't even have a car or a van. I did live in my car for a while, but I realized that even wasn't necessary, and it was needlessly expensive. So now I'm exploring the limits of cargo bike mobile home.
Of what?
Cargo bike mobile home is what I would call it. Cargo bike. This is my bike. It's, these are bike trailers. You can't really see now.
Oh, you actually have vehicles here.
They're covered, yeah. You should be able to see a wheel here, at least.
Yeah.
This is my bike. It's got 4 panniers on it. It's got a basket on the front. And then I have 2 trailers I'm towing behind the bike. The bike is not electrified yet. I might do that. It's really I can work on making everything lighter and more compact, or I can work on electrifying it. I prefer to work on making things lighter and more compact, because in the event of an emergency where electricity is scarce, you might end up in a situation where you have to leave the vehicle behind, and it's too heavy for you to move it without electricity. That becomes...
Now, supposedly tomorrow there's going to be a big sweep.
Big sweep. It's probably the same as all the others. They have swept me hundreds of times by now. It's a very foolish thing that they do, and I'm working on articulating all of the counter-productivities and inefficiencies of what they do. And I'm working with as many people as I can to create a better way to manage everyone's expectations and emotions and interests.
So what if they sweep you tomorrow, quote unquote? Like, where are you going to go? What are you going to do?
All I have to do is pack everything up. I have to wake up early, which I don't like doing, and I don't like having to pack up for no good reason, which I don't consider tomorrow to be a good reason either, because if once I move all of my things out of the way, they don't even clean. This is a sidewalk cleaning, colloquially known, not officially, as sweeps. So if they're going to clean something, they should clean something. If I move all my things out of the way and they don't clean anything, then I've moved for no reason, other than to appease whoever is filing 311 reports that could be well-intentioned, but more often they're malevolent.
And they want you to go where if they sweep you?
They just want to take, their protocol requires them to take a photograph of an empty sidewalk. So I move all my things out of the way, they take a picture, and then I can move back almost immediately.
So you plan to be back here this time tomorrow?
Yeah, probably.
Wow. Your teeth are...
Like I told you, it's very foolish. It's very, very wasteful. You know, if you're a taxpayer, I would advise trying to find a way to make them do something else because they're wasting your money.
Has anybody ever approached you to, like, why don't you work with us? Like, you're a smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
You have perfect teeth. I can't get over your teeth. Did you have braces?
No, I didn't have braces.
But, you know, like, I could see you being one of these guys that's talking to guys like you.
I could go into politics, or I could go into a number of industries. I prefer to be a generalist. I prefer to fly under the radar. I don't like to be too famous, because once you're famous, then you gotta really compete with people who are relatively psychopathic, and so that's not a safe thing to do.
So they don't try to put you, like, in a shelter or something?
Oh, they try all kinds of things.
What do they try to do?
I'm a rather wascally wabbit, I think. I hope to stay as foxy as I can. Well, most commonly, the police and homeless outreach are usually required, especially the police and emergency services are required to ask if I would like to go to the hospital or if I would like any services, which really all that means is we'll call an ambulance for you and the ambulance will give you a ride to the hospital, it's a taxi service. It's not really, I mean, they have some EMTs that are doing it, but there's nothing more to it than transportation in my case. Mm-hmm. And it's a big waste of my time, so I usually decline. Mm-hmm. And at DHS, you know, they're usually trying to convince me that my life would be better if I have an apartment somewhere with them, in one of their buildings, one of their basically, you know, slums. And I don't think that would be true. I think that I'd be surrounded by a lot of people that would not be a good influence on me, and a lot of people that would demand things from me that I wouldn't want to give. Because the nature of homeless services and the Department of Homeless Services is, you know, you find the cheap real estate, you find all the undesirables, and you move them to where the cheap real estate is. You pile them all together, and while they're there, they just multiply their dysfunction together. Their problems are not solved. Their brain essentially is not healed. I think that's the crux of it. You can do something to heal a person's brain. They can solve their own problems without Uncle Sam's impositions.
Yeah.
But that's not the focus. Not even for the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene. They're more interested in selling pharmaceuticals than curing anyone or healing anyone or optimizing anyone's cognitive capabilities. I mean, especially now that we have artificial intelligence, human intelligence is not as valuable. Very soon, you know, that's going to be an issue for everyone.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty
Myself
scary.
included.
It's pretty scary. So, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Sometimes I imagine myself like moving to Tokyo. Sometimes I imagine just sort of like riding my bike around the world. Sometimes I imagine trying to have a nomadic family that lives either on bicycles or in a van. sometimes I just think I'll keep working on nutrition in the city as long as that makes sense. Like, what I like to do now is try to find people who are malnourished and nourish them as much as I can, with some other constraints. Like, I try not to create pollution because I don't like being subjected to pollution myself, so I don't want to create pollution in the process of doing anything, including meeting my own needs if I can help it.
Logistical questions.
Yeah.
Do you have money? Like, how can you nourish other people?
The most effective way for me to nourish other people is to partner with soup kitchens that are funded by HRA mostly, and some private donations, and they're usually co-located with a church or a synagogue. And I can appear there and at least converse with whoever is most desperate, or whoever seems to be the limiting factor of feeding everyone as well as they can be fed. Sometimes, you have people who have serious health issues, or they have a significant period of instability in their life, and the soup kitchen network seems to be the thing that can solve some of those problems. Partly because it's somewhat founded in a religious setting, and also because food is like the essential resource that humans usually work together to provide for themselves.
All right, now if you want to shower or like go to the bathroom, like, do you have places that will let you in and do that stuff?
I used to. The two places that offer showers that are closest to me both have now refused me services because I tell them what I think, and I tell them how they should change their operation to be more efficient and effective, and they don't like that. And sometimes I play the long game, and other times I don't have the patience for it, and so I tell them what I think, and they tell me that they don't want to serve me anymore. And that's their right, I guess. I don't think it's the right thing for them to do. Sometimes I can reinstate myself or maneuver, but it's I've learned that showers are not as important as everyone would like you to believe that they are. Especially the people who are selling soap and perfume and deodorant. That stuff, most of that stuff is severely disruptive to the human endocrine system. And even just showering like more than once a week, it significantly disrupts the microbiome on your skin, and it dehydrates, and it melts the sebaceous oils that your skin needs to keep itself naturally moisturized. And if you don't replace those, not to mention all the things that are in the water, of the shower water that you're using,
Well, wait a minute. How about going to the bathroom? Like, you got to take a wicked dump. What do you do?
A wicked dump. Well, I'll start with the easier one, the liquid waste. I have Gatorade bottles. Old Gatorade bottles work fine. Then I pour those into the storm drain
Okay.
when they're full. And then for the solid waste, I just put down some newspaper and I hide behind my beach umbrellas here.
Oh, okay.
And then when it's done, I wrap it up into a burrito, and then I put that into the smart compost bin. It's all wrapped in paper, and that's the best, most efficient way I can think of to do it. The public restrooms, they're pretty unsanitary. It's a lot less sanitary than my process, even though it's unconventional. I used to pick, my favorite public restroom and use it every morning or something, and then help and work with the staff to keep it clean and keep it maintained and contribute where I was able. But eventually, I realized it's pretty futile.
Yeah.
Buildings themselves, a lot of infrastructure, especially the infrastructure that we're stuck with in New York. It's old and it's too expensive to replace it, and so what happens is we build solutions that don't involve infrastructure, and then once we have those solutions, then infrastructure is never built again because it's not worth it.
Now, like if you're gonna go take a shower once in a while, like does the cat just stay here and you leave your belongings here, or what do you do? You can't shower like on the street, you know.
Well, you can actually. You can use wet wipes to clean
That's true.
any parts of your skin, especially if you have a little bit of privacy. Or you can do it in the dead of night where it's less likely anyone will see you. You can just take a bottle of water and dump it on your head when it's summertime.
Right. True.
In the winter, you're not sweating as much. You know, the only thing that you might want to wash off is like your old skin cells, and that's not anything that's really going to harm you. It might not be comfortable. It might not be presentable, but it's nothing that's going to be harmful. And you can hide all of that under your winter clothing too. So, Kitty, come here.
I love that she's got an air tag. That's so cool. All right, last question. Unless there's other stuff you want to talk about, okay? Tell me, like, unless this is like too touchy a subject, but your parents are back in Missouri, right?
No, they live in South Carolina.
Oh, they do. I mean, and they know about this, and how do they feel about it?
Yeah, they know about it. I'm not sure how they feel about it. We've had some conversations. I argue with them as much as they would like to argue with me, which is usually not that much. Other than that, I mean, I feel like I've learned everything I can learn from them, and I've felt that way ever since I left home, really. One of the reasons I left home is because I felt like I needed to do my best. I needed to develop myself into the type of person that can be capable and can be of service. And if I had stayed home, I would not have become that person.
Okay, so for when I'm writing an article, I'd like to, first of all, I want to say that you've got 2 bikes, 3 bikes?
1 bike and 2 bicycle trailers.
Okay. So you could easily pack up your stuff and move to another location or even another state.
Yeah.
You could ride anywhere, really. You
Yeah.
can't ride to Tokyo or, but you could figure it out.
You would need a boat in that case. But some people have walked across the strait, the Bering Strait in the middle of winter.
Oh my God.
It's possible. It's not easy, but it is possible.
And I would like to say, I shouldn't use your last name, right? Ethan. Okay, I'll just say Ethan. Environmentalist, highly principled. Like, give me some adjectives that you'd use to describe yourself.
Outdoorsman,
Yep.
naturalist,
Anti-pollutionist.
yeah, that's sort of like environmentalist.
Yeah.
Department of Environmental Protection ethos, sort of. Thank you.
Nice. And you get a lot of food from people in the neighborhood?
Yeah, we get people give us gifts.
That's really cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. I may put it up on YouTube and see what happens, but I'm also going to write an article for the West Side Spirit, and I would like to be on those sweeps tomorrow somehow.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll see. What time do you think that'll happen?
Usually, unless they have another sweep to do first, they're usually here around 8.
Okay. I may be up here then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Caroline.
Caroline. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you, Caroline.
Nice to meet you.